Okay, this morning I want to talk about the threat of safety. I was driving to this coffee shop where I write in the morning sometimes, and there was a little bit of backup of traffic, and I saw this guy waiting to make it would have been for him a left turn down the same road I was going down or about to go down, and the dude, you could just sense it, man. I could just sense that this guy was like, even though I was way down the road and I could see him with his signal on, I could just sense that he was like, I gotta make this turn, I gotta make this turn. And it was only, once my car passed, there was a UPS truck and he would have had plenty of space to make the turn. But he had to make it now. You could just sense it. And, I was just watching. And as I got closer to the place where I was about to make the turn, this dude just gunned it. He went for it. Now, it would have been one thing for him to go for it and turn down the road that I was going down and just he made it before me. That would have been one thing. But what this dude did was not only did he make that turn, he went the road is like split, so there's like this triangle, so this way is going out and this way is going in. He went in through the outdoor like he was wearing a raspberry beret. You know what I'm talking about from Prince? He went in through against like towards traffic and then whipped over into the right lane he was supposed to be while cars were coming straight at him in this other direction. So wherever he had to be there right now. And I said, man, and I wasn't even going to do a blog this morning. I just was going to go write on my coffee thing and just go to the coffee place and write. But after I saw that, my mind started thinking, and I said, okay, now this dude put himself and other people in danger, or whatever you want to call it, just to get somewhere. And there's nothing down that road but trees, and then eventually you get to a few stop signs and a library. But at any rate, wherever he had to be, like I said, he had to be there now. And I started thinking, well, he was acting like something was chasing him. And then I started thinking about life and how so many of us live our lives as if we're being chased, as if something is after us, and if we don't hurry up and get away from whatever it is that's after us, something's going to happen to us, something terrible. I'm assuming death. And when I think about that, and then I think about the context, and then through the context that I use to frame my life, I started saying, man, I see why I'm confusing to some people sometimes. Because death is not the context of my life. And yeah, I could be making an assumption about this guy. He could just be a crazy driver. But in general, I know that almost everybody, and I don't like using those words like generalizing, but it took me about 30-something years before I started being able to say almost everybody. First, I kept thinking, oh, I just keep running into people who think that something's chasing them, and they're running from something that's chasing them. But now that I'm almost 40, I could say it's pretty much everybody. Either something's chasing them or they're chasing something. And I just don't want to live that way. Not saying that I have to, just frame in the context. So I started thinking about safety. And what if everybody felt like they were safe? What would happen to this world? And I started thinking about how many businesses would fail if there was no threats. If there were no threats. How many things people, I guess, would imagine wouldn't get done if there were no threats. And I'm not saying that necessarily it would turn out that way, but I think people think that. I think that if people didn't have something to chase or didn't think they were being chased by something, if there were no threats, then I think we imagine that people wouldn't do much with their lives or nothing would happen. But I actually think it'd be different. I think if there was safety, if everybody knew they were safe, then people would do what they felt like doing, which would probably be something very creative. And maybe there would be, I'm assuming, there would be more peace. I have no idea because obviously I'm not living in that world to any grand degree. But I'm just thinking about it. I was just thinking this morning, I said, okay, there's a reason why when people say, those people who like Martin Luther King and Gandhi and Jesus and all this stuff, who are like, oh, let's love. There's a reason why people shoot those people and hang them or, you know, burn them or put them on crosses and stuff like that. It's because they're bad for business. Think about it. What if everybody just started believing, or not everybody, but let's say the majority of consumers started believing that they were safe. What if they believed that they were safe? Probably they wouldn't try to be so fashionable like me. Look at me, I'm fashionable. You know, they wouldn't try to be. They wouldn't worry about like, oh, if I go here and somebody sees me, they're gonna think this, that, and that about me. Because they would just be like, I'm safe. Let me just put on what I feel like putting on. And so then what happened to the fashion industry, or people who have like home security systems, and they say, well, I'm safe. What I need this for? I bet so many people in business would say, you know what? That safety stuff is bad for business. Let's keep the threats going, man. There's always some threat. Who knows? This is a long rant. I'm not going to subject you to any more of it. All I'm going to say is, ask that question. What if you were safe? What would you do? How would you be if you knew you were safe? Because I know every once in a while I'll start feeling the threats coming on me, and I'll say, what in the world? Am I going crazy? And then I say, hold on. Let me get back to the context that I live my life under, which I'm assuming that there's such a thing as God, and that I'm assuming God did not create this world to be as crazy as it seems sometimes. So I try my best to try to figure out how to live from the context that I imagine God might have intended for us. And hopefully whatever comes up out of my life will be a reflection of that rather than a reflection of me being chased or having to be chased by something. That being said, there's a bee flying around me, and I'm about to run. Ha ha, the irony. See you.